Good morning. So I've been watching videos on other channels where women are talking about how they were treated by men, and men talking about how they like to take advantage of women. And I am just so grateful that I was raised in a healthy enough home that I never attracted these types of men or considered that was something that I would allow into my life. I am so grateful. And just for the people who might find this interesting, there are types of men out there that I have never discussed because they have never come across my radar in my own personal life. And I'm going to tell you what some of these are. One of these, I've come across these on Melanie Hamlet's channel. She's very honest about the many losers that she dated before she met her husband due to her childhood trauma. Apparently her dad was like an alcoholic. Her parents divorced when she was 4, and she was SA'd as a child, and then also later on in life. And then she spent her adult life trying to compete with men, trying to be a pick-me, and working in the male-dominated outdoor industry as a leader of outdoor adventures. And it just sounds like a very rough life. And so she encountered a certain type of man, which she calls a hobo-schmexual, because she doesn't say sexual. Hobo-sexual, I think, is what she means. And these are the guys that are basically hobos, gypsies, and I do not mean to put the word gypsy in a bad light. They're couch surfers. They are, she calls them king babies. Okay, they do not know how to be an adult. They do not know how to provide for themselves. They don't have their own place, and they use women to support them financially. These are men that are like in the outdoor adventure world, like the climbers, and they have their own trauma, so they are pursuing constant adventure and novelty because of their own trauma, unhealed trauma, and they're not able to even maintain like an adult life, or to even have healthy relationships if they do have a wife and children, because they're always off trying to meet the next adventure. There are also men there are women who team to attract men that they have to provide for. I've read so many accounts of women in other places saying that, oh yeah, I supported my boyfriend for this many years. I provided for him. I paid all the bills. I did all the cleaning. Like, in what world? Like, this is such a foreign concept to me. I don't even understand the level of trauma that a woman has had to have gone through to think it's okay, or that she wants to take care of an adult. Like, they're not children, they're adults, but they will wear you down. It feels like a very heavy burden to be financially and emotionally responsible for an adult man. So that's the first kind of guy, the hobo. The other kind of guy is the guy that marries a woman because he needs a maid. I was watching this interview by this, bless her heart, some 90-year-old African-American grandmother. She had 10 children, and the guy married her because the mom was trying to get her out of the house, and the guy just needed a maid. He told her, "You're ugly, but I need a maid." And he basically abused her for her whole life. She ended up having 10 children, and she's like the most sweetest, soft-spoken woman. And there are a lot of women who had to put up with abuse like that, including my grandmother in Iran. My grandfather was a womanizer. She had no power. She was home cooking, raising the children, and she even had to serve tea in bed to my grandfather and his young mistresses. My grandfather even paid for this young girl to go to school in London. He paid for her college, and he was just a womanizer, okay? So you got those men who are not even, they don't like their wives. They're just using her to have someone at home to cook for them, and be their maid and raise their children. We get a lot of these absentee dads. When you hear about these women that have 3 children from 3 fathers, I do blame the women for poor choices. But then we also have these men that are just having children and they don't care about their children. So this is a video made about the men, because I'm a woman and I'm just like, thank goodness I didn't encounter these men, because I'm thinking, what kind of a man would I have to have chosen that doesn't even want to be in my child's life? Like, these women have something wrong with them for choosing these types of men. So I'm grateful that I never had a man like that in my life. This is a gratitude video because I'm like, whoa, there are so many weird men out there. And then, of course, we have the domestic violence abuser men. Melanie Hamlet also talks about that on her channel, about her last guy, her boyfriend before her husband, who was abusive to her, and she had to file a restraining order. He was throwing things at her, like her tablet, her iPad. Like, he kept throwing things at her and breaking them. I've never had a guy throw anything at me, thank God. There's some women who think it's okay to be abused because they were abused as children. And so they don't, you know, if some guy tried to throw something like that at me, I'd be like, we would never even get that far, because these guys that are like the charmers, they have a certain voice quality, the way that they talk. My skin already crawls up on end. So I am so grateful that I have never encountered this type of toxic man in my life. The men that I've encountered that have caused me pain was nothing as blatant as that, but still very painful, which are men who are emotionally unavailable, and then due to my childhood, not seeing that as unacceptable behavior. I wasn't used to men showing emotions. When I grew up, men were not supposed to show emotions, so when men showed emotions, I thought there was something wrong with them, and I discarded them. It made me uncomfortable. So that's something that I had to learn, because I did pick these men. But these men, at least they're respectful, they provide, they're gentlemen, and they're kind. They pay their own way, they clean up after themselves, they contribute to the household, and they help with the children. Oh yeah, and then there's another type of guy who's just lazy, who thinks that, well, I'm out there working, so when I come home I get to relax, and he wants the wife to do everything with the children. He doesn't want to help with cleaning up. He doesn't even see what needs to be done because he's so entitled, and he basically is like a useless slug in the house. Apparently those guys exist too, like they're just lazy. Then let alone all the guys that are like out of shape or grumpy. So there are a lot of ways that a man can bring our life down. Fortunately, I haven't encountered these types, but they exist. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never even talked about these types of guys on my channel. Oh, and then the guys that are jealous of you, like Simone Biles' husband, who no one knows who he is. He's jealous of her career. My ex-husband was always proud of me. He would always be like, hey, you're smarter than I am. You're so much better in math. Like, oh, you're such a faster runner than I am. He would relish in my accomplishments. So I'm not used to these types of men, but I'm going to tell you, and Simone Biles was abused by her coach, so she was abused as a child. If you were abused as a child, you have to do therapy before you have any chance of attracting, because you don't even know what healthy love is. If you've been violated, that means your parents didn't protect you, and you don't even know what it's like to be loved and to be protected, and what a healthy relationship is. Now, anyone who was abused, if your parent took off, or you were abused, or your parent was an alcoholic, you have no chance at a healthy relationship without doing some somatic therapy. I'm not talking yap talk therapy. When I hear people say I was in therapy for years, I'm like, your therapy really sucked. No one should need therapy that long. You're not that broken. In my opinion, no one is that broken. You do some somatic therapy, a few months. I cannot see it having to last more than a year. unless you're going to some deep, intensive stuff. But forget about the talk therapy. All this talk therapy is in your head and in your thoughts, and trauma is lodged in the body. The childhood trauma that occurs when you're young, before you have words, before the age of 4 or 5, you cannot access that by talking. You don't have memories of that. You don't have words yet. It's stored in your body. It's more like a feeling thing, or like a visual or feeling thing. You cannot access it by talking. And a lot of people have found that talking will just re-enliven the trauma. There are a lot of somatic modalities, or trauma-based modalities. You might want to check out Bessel van der Kolk, or Peter Levine, Levine, to read about some of the modalities, or like feeling the feelings in your body, or just imagining something happen and just telling people to stop, like feeling safe in your body. And then also being around a therapist who actually treats you with respect and holds you accountable and believes that you deserve better, so that you can learn to have a healthy relationship. Because if you've never had a man, if you're a woman and you've never had a man, like your father take you out to dinner, or your grandfather take you out to dinner because he appreciates your company, you're only used to men using you for your body, or what you can do for them, or how you can make them look good because of your education, then you do not even know the words or the feelings or the experiences, because you've never had them. So you have to learn new experiences, new ways of feeling. And it's how will you know if you've never experienced it? That's a lot of the problem too in these relationships. Like this Simone Biles, she goes for these hot guys, but they're just charming fuckboys. She's married to a charming fuckboy, pretty much. A lot of these women are. So I'm just really grateful that my only issue with men has been choosing men who were emotionally unavailable, because for some of these women it gets worse. And the same for men. Look at Croy Bierman. He picked this bitch of a woman who dragged him into, he lost all of his money because of her. Now, as a woman, I look at this, I'm like, why'd you pick that bitch? It was very obvious that she was just going to destroy you, because she's a superficial bitch. As a woman, when I see a woman who's done all that plastic surgery and all the fake tits and all the spending, I'm like thinking gold digger, closed off, emotionally closed off. She's just after money and status and good times and fun. So be careful of women who have done a lot of plastic surgery and love shopping. That is your huge red flag. Number 2, women who don't give a shit about you. They're going to use you. They will keep you around. If you feel friend zone, you've got a woman who's a user. These women use you. Women like me do not friend zone men. If I'm not interested in you sexually, I'm not even going to be talking to you, okay? I'm not going to lead men on. But some women don't care because they want to use you. So you're letting yourself be used. Again, I don't have sympathy for the men, because I'm like, why are you with this bitch? That's how I think as a woman. I'm not thinking, oh, you got taken advantage of. And guys might look at me and be like, why are you with a guy who's emotionally unavailable? That's a little bit more subtle, though. Some of the subtle things are more harder to discern. But if a woman is just using you for your money or for your time, and you feel like she's not really into you, dump her. You guys have got to, for a lot of these guys, you guys have got to read a book about people pleasing. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. Because seeking, a woman's not your mommy. You don't need to seek for approval. She's got to like you for who you are. Lastly, there is no unconditional love except for children and pets. Do not look for unconditional love. You have to earn the love of the person you're with every single day. It's not just freely given because you exist. You have to contribute something. We all do. We have to contribute something for people to want to be around us. I have to be accountable. I have to be responsible. I have to be empathetic. I have to be interesting and funny and healthy. Else no one would want to be around me either. It's not handed out. We all deserve to be loved, but not everyone's going to want to be around us. So if you're going to be a people pleaser, you're going to attract people who will you have to keep will you have to keep proving yourself to get their approval? Well, if I just listen to her talk enough, she'll finally realize what a great guy I am. No, you've already shown that you're a doormat and that you don't value yourself and that your time is of no value. You've already shown that you're of no value because you sit around not expecting anything. You know, what you should tell these women is, I'm not your therapist, go get help, you know, and walk away. But these desperate guys, you know, and then they blame the women. By the way, I have no pity for all of you guys that are paying child support. It's your child. You should be paying for them. Come on my channel and being like, oh, all these women take our money. What money? You don't have money. But if you have a child, you're responsible for that child. Start wearing condoms. All you guys whining about child support, put a condom around that dick and shut up. That's what I want to say. And then you will pay no more child support. If you have a child, step up and be a dad. Okay, I made a video about single moms and some guys whining, what about us single dads? Well, most dads don't really give a shit. They're whining about the child support. They're having multiple kids and with multiple women, then they run off and then they whine about the child support. So I have no pity. You know, stick your dick in a condom and then shut up. Okay, that's what I want to say to these guys complaining about child support. I still pay child support to my kids. I have kids in graduate school and I am so fucking proud that I can support these kids. I am so fucking proud that I can be there and support my kids in graduate school. I'm proud that I can help. I'm not angry and crying and bitter, so fuck you. These men whining about child support. Just because you're a loser and a lowlife and you're not a real man. You're just a big fucking crybaby. Wrap your dick in a condom if you cannot man up and take responsibility for the children that you're making. Okay? That's what I want to say. And by the way, I've been having so much fun muting these whiny crybabies. Mute. You lost your privileges. Mute. Take some responsibility, okay? I can't help you. I can only tell you what it's like for me as a woman. Unfortunately, there are enough good guys out there that my life is still really good. There are enough really high-quality men out there who are good fathers, who step up and take care of their children, who are there for their wives. Melanie Hamlet found a really good guy. She's married to him. She said, I never knew what love was until I met this man. This man cooks for me. This man loves me. This man is more loving than I am. And I have seen that many times. I have seen so many men, they love to cook. And I love myself a guy like that. There's so many men who are more loving than the women. Their hearts are more open than the woman's heart. These men exist. I have seen it. And it's so heartwarming. And these men are out there too. And I just want to say, I want to meet more men like this. I am so honored in men like this who live authentic, powerful lives, who are on top of what they're doing in their own lives. And they also think, what kind of impact am I going to have on a woman? What kind of impact am I going to have on children? What kind of impact am I having on the people I'm speaking to? Not just how can I plunder a woman and spin plates and get her to support me, but how can I be a sovereign individual and make better the lives of the people around me? That's what healthy people want to do. They want to leave a powerful, uplifting impact on the people around us. So these men are providing, they're doing their own housework, they are enjoying the women they're with, and they're loving, and they're cooking, and they're pursuing their careers, and they love learning, and they love working out, and they don't use women for sex. They will just be with women, they will treat women with respect and with dignity and with honor. And I celebrate men like this. These men are out there too, and maybe we need to see more women making videos about the good men rather than just complaining about the bad men, you know. But I guess just complaining about the bad men is more like gossipy fodder, you know. Like that Prince Harry, he's a total, sorry excuse for an adult. He's just an entitled little brat. who is a good example? I love watching Andrew Gold. I watch his YouTube channel, Police Off the Cuff. I watch, is it Mormon Stories podcast? I watch Deception Detective. There are like a lot of really good guys whose videos I like to watch. The Hidden True Crime, it's a couple, and Dr. John has such a calming voice. He's so insightful. There are some like really good guys out there also making content and that are probably really good husbands. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I really don't know, but I certainly believe in a world of very high quality men. And I have sons who are very high quality men. Actually, it's through my sons that I actually have hope again for men, because the men I meet over 50, they're mostly emotionally a little bit walled off, even though they try to be kind. And I don't really meet that many other men, but my sons give me an example of powerful men. You know, they give me hope in men when I see how they live their lives and how they treat their women and their continuous love of learning and how they take care of their health and how much they love learning and personal growth. Not that they're not doing therapy. I shouldn't even say personal growth, but more like a love of learning and improving themselves in the way that men like to do. Because they didn't have any childhood trauma, so they don't have to go to therapy. Not everyone has to go to therapy. Therapy is only if you've had childhood trauma, and part of having your emotions cut off when you were a little boy is childhood trauma. But you may not know that it's trauma, but if you were shamed as a little boy for crying, you definitely need to get into some therapy. Not talk therapy, somatic therapy, because they took away an important part of you, and that's part of your humanity and your human experience. But that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching my video, and thank you for all the wonderful men who watched my video and who have blessed my life up to this point. And I welcome many more wonderful, strong men into my life going forward. And may all the riffraff just fall away. Thank you for watching.